Like I say, in the community you get some dogs really frightened. Some dogs you get them not really vicious, which they can be. So it's the way you're gonna cooperate with dogs. Have to understand dogs so they can understand you.
Dogs are an important part of life in remote communities. They provide friendship, company, and protection for their owners. While some dogs are fenced in, most community dogs are free to roam. Unrestrained dogs can be a cause for concern.
One dog came running out barking, and then another dog, two other dogs joined, and they bared their teeth. Like, you know, as I said, it was quite scary. Didn't expect to get bitten, but I did.
The next minute the dogs come running. I must have, disturbed them or something. I must have been a threat to them.
One of the things that we often hear from people that work in and visit remote communities is that they feel threatened by the community dogs. In fact, some people go as far to say that they feel imprisoned in their own homes because of the free-roaming dogs. Although community dogs are very visible, the complexities of dog behaviour often go undiscussed and misunderstood. Dogs affect people's lives and work for better and for worse. This presentation will provide a range of perspectives from people who live and work in the communities. It will also demonstrate ways to reduce the risks of dog bites and threatening dog behaviour to help everyone live safely in remote communities.
Any visitors coming into Milingimbi needs to know that Milingimbi is entirely a different place. It's not the same as where you are coming from. So expect to see some differences.
As the clinic manager, I routinely, as part of the orientation, warn people to be cautious of dogs. I don't do that because dogs are particularly bad, but people just need to be aware that when they come to a community like Milingimbi, different rules apply in terms of safety.
My name's Kevin Richter. I'm from Queensland. I've been working here in the Northern Territory for the last 3 years in remote Aboriginal communities. I have had an experience with dogs before. I was attacked by 3 camp dogs, believed to be hunting dogs, and they actually surrounded me and worked together till one of them, I took my eyes off one of them, and he came in from behind and took a chunk out of the back of my leg, which I needed to go to the medical centre, which they put a couple of stitches in and fixed me up. It was very scary. Never been attacked by dogs before.
My name's Edna Snape, and I work here at Tea Tree Aged Care. I'm the coordinator. We do food service here for the old people. We deliver meals and other things we do. We do transporting and bring them in for respites, and whatever their needs are, we do that for them. At the creek camp, one day I went over there to deliver meals, and first I went to Daisy and Amy and Peggy's camp, and then I sort of skipped along towards Patty's and Archie's camp, Grandpa Archie's camp, and the next minute the dogs come running. I must have, disturbed them or something. I must have been a threat to them. That's what I thought later. And then one dog come and he bit me on the ankle, and the next minute I had about 6 or 8 of them around me, scratching me and biting me on the ankle. And one of them their teeth pierced right into my bottom of my ankle, and I was screaming. And then Patty and Grandpa Archie got up and growled them, and they helped me. And then I came to the clinic, and then they just wiped it down and and just dressed it. I didn't need stitches for it. And then I had to do an incident report for the workplace, and that's what happened, but that was a really bad experience. But now I've learned from when I go into the creek camp or anywhere into the homes, when I go in with food, I put the food on my side, so they're sniffing the food. And that's how I get away with it sometimes.
I've been working in remote communities for 5 years now, and it never made me think twice about coming remote with the dogs, even though in the city, sometimes I've been nervous of dogs. So we all do a lot of on-call, and probably the most time that we come in contact with dogs is when we're called out to houses at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. And first of all, we sometimes have difficulty finding the house, and then you drive up to the house, and I always wind down the window, and there's usually somebody who comes out and greets me with a torch, and I say, are there any cheeky dogs here?
So this is one of the more notorious households for intimidating dogs in this particular community. And as you can see behind me, there's 7 or 8 fairly healthy, large dogs that are out in the front yard. And when we first pulled up, they were actually out on the street. And so it frightens a lot of people off from walking up this street.
We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that other one. I feed them bones of chicken or meat of puliki and some sort of fish.
They love their dogs. They love their dogs, these old people. And they don't have 1 or 2, they have about 5 or even maybe about 10. They love them. Mm.
Especially you'll have more than 1 dogs. And they have their reasons.
Yeah, and it is very important for them people, because they know this is a dog grooming place at the piggery. And every dog's going to be respected in the community. This is where they all came out from in the dream time.
Yeah, they understand, them dogs understand when you talk to them. Yeah, but they like to stand there and just look at you, huh? Yeah, they like to do that, But sometimes, yeah, they want to climb up, and just, nurse them like a little baby.
I had 4 dogs here before when I was little, and my uncle take me bush. Like this dog chasing all the wallabies and bite and kill and we eat, or in the bush. But now this dog hunt for the shop food.
There's a very close bond, and sometimes it offends Yulngo if Valanda or anybody, even Yulngo, comes and starts punching or kicking a dog.
So remember, when working or visiting remote communities, expect to see free-roaming dogs. Most free-roaming community dogs are owned. Dogs are important for protection, companionship and hunting. Dogs may have cultural significance, and all dogs should be respected.
Okay, this is just a typical community scene. Kids and dogs, unrestrained dogs, different sizes, big dogs, little dogs. People can find this very intimidating. The dogs are unrestrained, there's no one in charge of them, no adults around. Who knows how they're going to behave? Hello, my name's Eileen Fletcher and I'm a professionally qualified dog trainer. For the last 3 years, I've worked for AMRIC, which is Animal Management in Rural and Remote Indigenous Communities. A lot of our work involves visiting remote Indigenous communities and talking to people about their dogs and their dogs' health. We handle a lot of dogs and we thought we'd share with you some of the things that we do and work for us to avoid getting bitten. Dogs have evolved to live with people over thousands of years, and so they've learned to understand some of our behaviour. We can also learn about dog body language to help us recognise what they're trying to tell us. Here we see John walking down a street with several barking dogs. This is potentially a dangerous situation. He stops. He gives them some dog biscuits. Suddenly a dog charges out from the neighbour's yard. John has a split second to decide what to do. Should he run away screaming, find the nearest stick and lay into them, look at the dog's body language? With a little bit of knowledge about dog body language, we can try to identify their behaviour in a given situation and then react appropriately. All dogs are different, and a dog's temperament, like ours, is made up of both genetics and life experience. It is important to remember that a dog's behaviour is influenced by its breed, its upbringing, and its interaction with humans.
If you start teaching them, then they'll get wild or, start chasing or they'll run for that person. Your dog is a friendly one, but the only thing they get silly is by teasing.
Like us, generally dogs do things for a reason. Often aggressive behaviour in communities is based around dogs protecting their territory or being scared. Biting someone can be stressful and wasteful of energy, and often dogs will try to avoid doing it. But if it has worked in the past, then they're likely to do it again. We can learn to give the dogs other options. We just need to communicate to the dogs that we are not a threat. Assertive or confident body language can include a rigid body, straight, stiff legs, raised or pricked ears, and a raised or stiff tail. Fearful body language can include the ears back or flattened, the tail tucked down and under, a low crouch stance, and avoiding eye contact. In contrast, a friendly dog has relaxed body language, a low wagging tail, a relaxed stance, and a soft expression. Although aggressive behaviour is more obviously threatening, a fearful dog can lash out and bite if cornered or pushed too far out of its comfort zone. These dogs are alerting other dogs and people to the presence of strangers. The most obvious sign is the barking. This is both a warning to the threat and letting others in the community, dogs and people, know that there is a threat about. This is one of the main reasons we and other people own dogs, as an early warning system. Okay, dogs are territorial, which is why these dogs are doing what they're doing. They're protecting what's important to them. So they're protecting their resources.
If we watch this clip again in slow motion, we see two very different reactions from dogs to exactly the same situation. The big brown dog on the left has very loose, friendly body language. He bounces around with a low, softly wagging tail. If you look closely, he curves away from Sophie because the dogs on the right are displaying very different body language. They're showing aggressive behaviour. They're barking, they're very rigid, their legs and tails are stiff and their ears are pricked up. They're also egging each other on as a pack, which makes the situation more dangerous. But because Sophie shows no sign of fear, just keeps walking and doesn't react, the dog's arousal levels slowly subside. The threat, which in this case is Sophie, has moved on. In this clip, we see two dogs using subtle body language to avoid violent confrontation. I'm crouching down to make myself less threatening because the little white dog's nervous. A new dog approaches. He stares at the first dog. His ears prick up and he raises his tail. He's being assertive. He then momentarily relaxes his body and lowers his tails and ears while he greets me. He wants me to know he's not a threat. He then becomes assertive again towards the first dog, who moves away. These signs can happen very quickly, and the more you observe them, the better you'll be able to understand dog behaviour. Now, dogs chasing cars. This can be a far more dangerous situation.
These dogs are now very excited. Their systems are flooded with adrenaline. Studies indicate that in this situation, the next thing that comes along may well cop it, be it a person or another dog. If I saw this, I would probably pick another street to walk down.
My name's Sean. I'm a steps trainer here in Milingimbi. I've been in Milingimbi, this is my second year. Love the place, I love the community. If we're going to talk about dogs, I mean, I kind of have a little anger kind of management problem with some of the dogs here. There's some really nice dogs here, but I got into a little health kick last year where I was training, trying to lose weight and get fit, and went for a walk and a run and was belled up by dogs, where I got really anxious, really worried for my safety. And this is what I often see. There seems to be one dog that kind of comes out to the other side. And this happened last time as well. There was a dog like this one here that came behind me when I was first bitten. Now, I don't know if that's a tactic or what, but I know I feel pretty safe today because it's almost as if their attention's already been taken.
Here are some of AMREC's top safety tips around dogs. If you're new to a community, ask if there are any cheeky, meaning dangerous, dogs around, and which places are best to avoid. A little bit of local knowledge can go a long way. Always beep the horn or call out before you enter someone's yard.
We can just beep the horn.
Never jump out of a car and walk into a property without assessing it first. Dogs are territorial. One of the main reasons that we have them is for protection. If there are barking dogs around, just wait until the owner comes out and then ask if the dogs are okay. If you're worried, ask the owner to restrain the dogs. Just be aware that the early mornings and late evenings are when the dogs are most active, so there's going to be more dogs around at those times. Don't step over or push past a dog lying in a doorway. Ask the owner to call the dog, or you could scatter some biscuits away from the dog to entice it to move. Be aware of getting between the dog and what it is guarding. Okay, it could be a food source, could be its owner, could be its puppies, other dogs. Just try and keep the dog in sight while you back away. If you are confronted by a dog, don't run away. Running from a dog will trigger its prey drive and can lead to a bite.
If you're gonna run, they're gonna chase you.
Stay calm and try and keep your body language relaxed. If the dog continues to threaten, just back away slowly to a place of safety. Don't turn your back. A fearful dog can often take this as an invitation to bite you. It's best to move sideways or back slowly away from the dog. Don't stare directly at a dog that you're unsure of. This can be very challenging and frightening for some dogs. Just avoid direct eye contact if you can. Remember, you need to be a resource and not a threat. You may have been given advice to carry a stick or rocks to throw at the community dogs. Well, just think about this. If a dog sees a person carrying a stick or picking up rocks, it's going to confirm to that dog that you are dangerous, and then the situation has the potential to escalate. Yes, some dogs may scatter if you throw a rock or wave a stick at them, but some aggressive dogs are going to see this as a direct challenge and they're going to defend themselves by attacking you.
When they throw things at them, you know, them dogs, they don't forget, they remember you. You be cheeky to a puppy or, you know, an adult dog, they remember you, they can sense you, and they can sense you when you're frightened of them.
Of course, safety is paramount, and in some situations, using sticks and rocks may be your last option. But learning to identify and recognise dog behaviour is going to go a long way towards diffusing a potentially dangerous situation.
shh, shh, shh. Okay.
I felt nervous about that walking past those dogs today, particularly when one growled, and these dogs seemed quite not aggressive this morning, but they were certainly assertive in protecting their house. So and also when I'd walked past, I felt them run after me a little bit, so that made me feel very nervous. And you probably saw me jump out of my skin when one sort of came running up behind me. Yeah, so I was very nervous there, and I'm glad I had my stick.
Sue's just encountered what lots of people that come and work and live in communities have to deal with, which is they want to go about their business or walk down the road, and there's a load of unrestrained dogs that are looking quite menacing. And we're just going to go through a few hints and tips and things that might help her achieve her goal of getting down the road with not being bitten and not being terrorised. So let's go. Okay, so we're sort of surrounded. So you need to be mindful and you need to be aware of your circumstances. So you need to know where the dogs are. And this one's moved out of our way, but is keeping an eye on us. And here comes another one with a wonky leg. It doesn't mean that it can't bite you, and it doesn't mean that you can outrun it. I'm just going to diffuse the threat a little bit by giving some food to the dogs. So I'm changing their perception of the situation. I'm letting them know that actually we might have some good stuff to offer, rather than being something that needs to be chased off. Just scatter it randomly. Don't worry about, if you can scatter it widely, there's less likely to be a dog fight. You don't have to throw it to them, they'll find it. Mm-hmm. They have noses.
Very good nose.
They do, much better than us. So you can just scatter them randomly, and we're just changing the dog's perception of what's happening. They've gone from, oh, I must guard my territory, which is very natural in dogs. That's what they want to do, protect their resources. They've gone to, oh, okay, there's some food about. They're still very wary. I just moved my hand, then that dog went, oh, you know. So they are still very wary of us. We don't need to go up and pat them and treat them like, our pet dogs. We just need to diffuse the threat. So let's walk on and see what happens. We'll just get off the road for the traffic. We're going to have to move slightly onto their territory. Yes. Because it wants to get access to the food quicker than the others. If you want to move it away, throw the biscuits away.
Okay.
Throw the biscuits further from you. The dogs will move after the biscuits. Now, the fact that, these dogs have a bit of mange probably makes them look a little bit scarier to you. That makes them look a little bit more wild, a little bit more unkempt. It doesn't mean they're any more wild, they're any more unkempt. These are owned dogs, they belong to someone. If you don't have any food with you and you're in the situation where you're feeling threatened, there's a lot of things that you can, there's some things that you can do to diffuse the situation if it's not that serious. Like these dogs, they are not that serious. However, it could go either way depending on how you react. These dogs are going to react to your reactions. So I could very quickly arc them up by going like that. He's growling at me now. He's just waiting for me to turn. I've now turned back into a threat. Body language like this is quite scary to the dogs. Eyeing them off, standing straight up. If you turn sideways to any animal, it's less threatening. You're telling the animals that you're less of a threat. Now this dog is choosing to walk away because he knows me now. He has a history with me. I've been feeding him. So he's just like feeling a little bit disappointed that I turned on him. But if this was our first encounter, he would probably be barking away and chasing me down the street and making sure I left. So they're just doing their job. He is very... Did you see? Now that was interesting because you bent down to pick up the treat and the dog thought, what do you think he thought?
I was going to throw a stone at him.
Yes. And he backed off.
In fact,
if you want to move her away, just if you don't want her that close.
Somebody said to me yesterday, oh, don't carry a stick, just pick up a stone and throw them at them.
Yeah, you know, that's an option, and it would have worked with that dog. It would have got him away, but he would have come back, and then you would have confirmed in his mind that, in fact, you were a threat. So tomorrow, when you get to the end of the road, he's going to be going, oh my God, here's that woman with the rocks. Rah, rah, rah. So I'd rather you're changing their emotional response to what's going on, and yours.
Yeah.
Isn't it nicer than throw rocks?
Yeah, it is.
We don't have to have that adversarial relationship. So let's walk back. If you don't want them behind you, throw the treats, keep walking. And if you're going to do this on a regular basis, i.e. to create that habit so the dogs think, here she comes, our new best friend, don't feed up and down the street, because otherwise they'll follow you up and down the street. So I would say have yourself a cut-off line, you do not feed beyond that point, and the dogs will learn that it's useless to follow you after that point, doesn't get them anything. You only need to do it a few times. So say every day for a week, you're creating a pattern, you're creating an association. After that, you can just do it once in a while.
Okay.
So we are changing the dog's reaction to you. We're changing their emotional response so that they're no longer looking on us as a threat, but they're anticipating us as a really good thing that's going to happen in the morning or going to happen once in a while. Sue comes along and their emotional response is yippee, rather than if she throws rocks and uses her stick, they're going to be really spiked up and they're going to see her at the end of the road, and the emotional response are going to get flooded with adrenaline because they're threatened, and it's just going to go horribly wrong, and it just escalates. Okay, we've gone through some of the things that you can do to help diffuse the situation and avoid confrontation with the dogs that live in the communities. But if you've tried all that and it doesn't work and the dog is determined to attack, we're going to give you a few strategies that you can do to help minimise the damage. So if you are worried about being attacked, you can carry a poly pipe. A bit of polypipe secreted about your person. Now the reason that we say hide it is because we've talked about how having a stick and waving it around can aggravate the situation by confirming to the dogs that you are a threat. This can be quite easily hidden. You can bring it out, and the idea is not that you hit the dog with this. This is not going to stop a dog biting you by hitting it. However, you can give it to the dog to bite. So often the dogs will not discriminate between your flesh and a piece of pipe, and they'll bite the pipe. Now you need to hang on to the end, because once you let go of it, it's no longer interesting to the dog. So if you don't have that, you can use whatever you're wearing, a jacket or a shirt. Again, hold on to the end, use the other end to allow the dog to bite and tug, and just back slowly away. The idea is that you can get out of the situation. If you don't have a jacket, because it's often really hot, you might be wearing a hat. Hats are really another good thing the dog will grab onto, you can hold the end of. You might be carrying a clipboard if you're a meter reader or anything like that. Anything that you can stick in the dog's mouth that will allow you to get away. Now, one of my personal favourites, and you might well be able to carry a pop-up umbrella with you. Just press the button. This is a really difficult surface for a dog to grab onto because it's sort of, wide. They can't actually compress and shut their mouth on it. So this will allow you to reverse out, keeping the dog at bay. And it's, when it's folded up, it's really quite small. In the unlikely event that you are seriously threatened by dogs, remember, first of all, try and diffuse the situation. But if they're seriously going to bite, try and stay upright. Call out for help, but don't scream. Use whatever object you have to stick in the dog's mouth, and back slowly away. We at AMRIC work in remote Indigenous communities on a weekly basis, and we love our jobs. We meet and handle hundreds, if not thousands, of different dogs, And using the techniques that we've shown you, we very rarely get bitten.
If a dog does jump up on you and knocks you to the ground, try to curl up like a rock. Kneel on the ground, tuck your head into your knees, put your arms over your ears and lie as still as you can. Of course, prevention is the best cure. So talk to the locals, announce yourself when arriving at a yard, be extra vigilant in the mornings and evenings, never step over a dog, don't get between a dog and what it is guarding. And if you are confronted by a dog, don't run away. Stay upright, call for help, use whatever object you're carrying and back away slowly. We hope that this advice can help everyone live safely in remote communities.